Last night at World's End, AEW gave us elite wrestling and maximum chaos. Okada pulled out villain behavior, Moxley outlasted him cleanly, and the main event ended with MJF doing what MJF does best, turning a four-way into a crime scene and walking out as champion. The Return of the King. If you like good graps with bad morals, this pay-per-view was for you. What up, everybody? Welcome back to the T-Drop, the only wrestling breakdown where we don't just call out the spots. We call out the drama, the chaos, and the no soft behavior energy. We're here reviewing AEW's Worlds End from Hoffman Estates, Illinois' Now Arena. We had 0 hours setting the tone. Then AEW said, now let's cook. Julia Hart and Sky Blue versus Hyan and Maya World. This was way more competitive than expected for a 0 hour show. And shout out to Hyan and Maya World. They treated this like a real audition and got real shine. Note for AEW though. The Sisters of Sin tag offense, we should keep that. That double team finish is clean, believable, and television ready. Now we move on to Eddie Kingston versus Zach Gibson. I'm going to be honest. This felt more than a heated few match. But Ortiz making the save after the scarf choke, that's the kind of simple, effective alignment AEW needs more of. Bandito and Mascara Dorada versus Rocky Romero and Mark Davis. Fun sprint. Bandito and Dorada have cheat code chemistry, and if AEW wants a fresh painting, they just found one by accident. Now we move on to the last match of 0 hour. 8-man tag team action between Jet Speed and Jurassic Express versus The Demand and Josh Alexander. Harmless chaos, but here's the note to take from this match. Ricochet and Speedball is the kind of athletic energy AEW should bottle and sell. Now, if Ricochet can get off of social media and chill and focus on his craft, we will all be cool in the world and not create chaos online. But that's a separate story. Alright, with 0 hour done, let's head to the main card. Right off the bat, the main card, this had a big fight feel right away. Okada tried to play respectful legend. Takeshita said nope and slapped his handshake away. This match was counter wrestling candy, the kind where everything looks smooth, violent, and inevitable. And then the finish. Okada pulling out the screwdriver and getting the win with the ref missing it. That's not just a heel finish. That's AEW telling you Okada is not here to be loved. He's here to win, period. Now, if Don Callis was involved in that, we might be watching a full-time conspiracy arc form in real time in the weeks to come in AEW. This next match started methodical, and then it turned into a Who Survives Wrestling type of match. Fletcher worked the leg, trapped it, punished it. Mox had to fight like the guy who knows, I can't be the toughest guy if I can't even stand. And when this hit the final stretch, it wasn't just spots, it was pure drama. Near falls, choke attempts, desperation counters. The crowd lived and died on every grip change. Mox winning by basically forcing the ref stoppage. That's not a Fletcher loss. That's Fletcher got taken out by a man who refused to lose. And Fletcher chop blocking Mox after, that teaches you the story. Okada's got tricks. Fletcher's got spite. Mox has to walk through hell twice. Following those semis is a nightmare. Seriously, a nightmare match. But FTR and BBG did what pros do. They brought the crowd back with weapons, brawling, and brutality. This wasn't reinventing street fights. This was give them pain, give them tables, give them urgency. Get them ready, I guess. Who knows? FTR retaining makes sense, but my bigger question now becomes, where does Bang Bang Bros go after one final attempt fails? This match had ideas, lots of them, sometimes too many. Athena looked like a monster, like she's wrestling in a different gear than half the roster. And Mercedes went full Meteora spam mode, like it's a fighting game. Babes retaining via scramble. Pin felt like AEW saying we're keeping the belts where they are, but we're planting a seed for Mercedes to snap, as you saw during the Iron Man segment. She went all ballistic in her locker room, destroyed it, and yeah. So that tantrum tease after, yep, that's the lane. Mercedes at her best when she's entitled, furious, and convinced the world owes her. Boss behavior, obviously. This match coming next was blood and madness. And if you're like I don't know, wrestling like a horror movie type of person, you ate tonight. But here's my honest take. It looked brutal, yet it didn't feel like the feud was hot enough to justify that level of chaos. Darby winning is fine. Darby always wins the I survive type of match. That's Darby Allin for you. But Gabe Kidd being sporadic in AEW makes me ask, what is this building towards? This was chaotic, messy fun in the next coming match. Like I said, this was chaotic, messy fun, intergender teases, everyone flying, and Toni Storm doing Toni Storm things. Orange Cassidy and Toni Storm sharing a comedic chemistry with that dance type of fight move was probably one of the best things or most interesting nonsense in that match. That's the kind of nonsense sometimes wrestling needs. This match exists to remind you AEW can do serious classics and also do what is happening energy. So Nets. This one didn't fully land for me, this Nets match, and here's why. The pacing drifted, and the selling got inconsistent in the stretch where it should have been the tightest. They had a good concept stealing each other's big stuff, but the crowd never fully locked in emotionally. Statlander retaining is fine. But if AEW wants this division to feel urgent, the matches have to feel like something changed afterwards. Now, we go to the finals of the Continental Classic. The finals between Mox felt kind of like an old school fight with Okada. Okada slowed it down, targeted the leg, controlled the tempo like a surgeon. Mox was the opposite. Messy, stubborn, and willing to die for it. The low blows and belt tees were perfect. Big match desperation, and then Mox wins it clean. That mattered, I guess. Because the message is Okada can cheat, posture, and outclass you, but Mox is built for pain and minutes. So after the match, he talks about, he does this speech about how, this is for the fans because AEWs were the best wrestle and so on and so forth. The typical AEW motto. So MJF, I guess, going face by doing a shared moment of the title win or the Continental win with the fans. That's it feels like a transition of him towards becoming a face. We'll see. Anyway, main event. Joe defending against MJF, Hangman, and Swerve is basically how many enemies can exist in one ring. This match had finishers and momentum swings, but the timing was so sharp it didn't feel sloppy. Everyone had a believable I'm winning right now moment. Joe felt dangerous, Swerve felt inevitable, and Hangman felt desperate. And then MJF. Low blow, heat seeker, theft. As always, MJF winning the title doesn't just crown him, it recenters AEW around the one guy who can make everybody look emotional and violent chasing him. That's World's End. A pay-per-view built on great wrestling, dirty choices, and some big mistakes. As always, AEW always goes great with their pay-per-views, matches. They always have great tournaments. They do better tournaments than WWE does. Their Continental Classics have always been decent, but sometimes, like always, some of the stories don't make sense. But now with AEW in the spectrum after winning all these awards through different companies, 2026 is going to look crazy for them. We will see what that means for them. So anyway, drop your thoughts. Did AEW make the right call going Mox over Okada? And was the event finish perfect, MJF? Or too much? Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next T-Drop.